Paradise World videos. Ooh, Paradise World videos. Where it all get paid. Paradise World videos. Paradise.
It's Friday morning, Costa Blanca, and finally the rain's gone, but we got a lot of bad news to catch up with. Bodies being washed up down in Costa del Sol, someone being shot in La Manga, and the funeral director's gone under, pardon the pun. But yeah, we're going to crack on with all the latest news this morning. 4 days of severe bad weather, and yeah, it's destroyed part of the beach here in Playa de Cura. But it's not just there, it's all over Spain's been battered with this heavy rain this week, Storm Dana. Lots of seaweed as well washed up here. This was lovely beach last week. But thank goodness Torrevieja and Torrevieja Costa didn't get it too bad, apart from the roads getting flooded all around Torrevieja and along the back streets of the coastal road there, which is always prone to flooding, and of course Playa Flamenca all around there, you get flooding in the usual spots, but it's left a load of potholes, and yeah, already in a bad state, the roads in Torrevieja Costa, people are already screaming about it. But we did miss most of the torrential rain damage, so the storm really affected all different parts of Spain, and one part that actually got battered was actually down on the Gran Canaria and Lanzarote, Canary Islands as well, up to 15 millimetres of rain an hour, 100 mil a day. So yeah, unbelievable amount of rain that fell. Airport had to be shut, and cars were windswept as well along the river, and apparently no one actually got killed. So the airport was closed for a while and disruption to flights. But yeah, and the island as well got badly hit with cars floating all over the place. But other than that, different parts of Spain did get different kind of nightmares with this flooding. Take a look at these pictures. So even though the farmers were like crying out for rain because they needed it, but yeah, they got more what they wanted. And yeah, it caused a lot of damage in places as well. Of course, we haven't had rain for a long time, and when we get it by the bucket loads. But yeah, of course, there's more other news that's been going on. And there's a bit of mystery surrounding a body that was found outside La Manga Club there down in Murcia. It had been shot, so they don't know what actually that's all about. And also in Costa del Sol, there was a body that's just been washed up on the sea in a swimsuit, and they're yet to identify the body. But the case of the body that was found in La Manga, apparently it was a businessman, owned quite a few pawn shops, gold and jewellery and everything. And they did say they found a gun just about a metre away from where he was. So they're not sure if it's suicide or what, but mystery surrounds that businessman's death. They're saying he was shot straight through the heart, but they are investigating certain individuals to do with the discovery of this businessman. Also, earlier this week, we had a bad accident in Barcelona. A coach full of people went straight in the back of a bus. And that was Monday afternoon. I reckon about 12 people seriously injured, English and Italians. And I reckon there was tons of emergency services there on the scene. Total of 63 people actually received like medical help, and they reckon the bus was actually stationary when the coach went straight up behind it. And a 63-year-old man actually was trapped in between, and he was lucky to escape with just a few injuries. He was a tour guide for one of the coaches. And these people that were actually on this coach, they're actually just coming from a cruise from Barcelona cruise terminal. So they was on a day trip around Barcelona. Yeah, it didn't finish very well because a lot of them were taken to hospital and clinics all around Barcelona. And they were tested, in case they'd been drinking, but both were tested negative, apart from damaging the coaches and the bus. But 44 people in total were actually really badly injured, and like I say, loads of them medical attention. So yeah, that weren't a very good day out for the old cruise people. We've got another big warning by the Spanish police, and it's the same again. It's the old Texas the SMS texts you get on your phone. Of course, in Spain, they've got a new alert system about the weather. And what they've been doing, the old scammers, the cyber criminals, what they've been doing is sending these texts and you hit to open it and they're saying just don't open or download any file, because what it does, it nicks all your information on your phone. That is latest scam going around. And the police are saying this ain't an AMET warning, it's just a scam. Don't ever click onto any links. So yeah, we're always reporting on these scam links. Of course, there's loads going about. Traffic fines you click onto, the post office one. You just got to be careful. If you get anything like that, you get most things that are serious fines and all that, you get it by the post where you normally sign for it. You don't normally send MSS messages. And if it's the weather one, of course you don't need to open it, do you really? You can tell the weather's bad, just open the bloody door and look out the window. We've got a story as well, as a foreign student that was crushed to death by a bin lorry. This is what they're suspecting anyway, because they found a body in the rubbish dump where all the rubbish goes in Palma de Mallorca. Been there by a while. It was like skeleton remains. It was a 24-year-old Argentinian lady, and she was been missing back in October. She was with friends out on a night in a nightclub and she had gone missing, but they reckon she had climbed into the bin, but I can't see it myself, but that's what they're thinking what happened. She's actually got a bit drunk and disorientated and ended up climbing into one of the bins and then finishing up at one of these rubbish dumps in Mallorca. And that's where they found her, on one of these landfill sites. And it was 60,000's worth of ton of rubbish that they come across to it, or they found her body. And it was a phone that actually pinged the location. And the other theory is she may have dropped her phone in the bin and she's gone into the bin to get her phone, and that's how she ended up becoming in the bin. Of course, she'd had a few drinks and then she's ending up at the landfill site. So that's the explanation they come up with, because they're saying like where she was in with the rubbish and everything, with little oxygen, there was no way she was going to survive. So who knows the truth? This is just what they're coming up with, their theory. Got another story of down on the Costa del Sol. As you know, everything goes on there. Malaga, all the bad boys are down there and all the trouble goes on. Well, three-hooded people actually kidnapped a business car owner of a car dealership. Yeah, they stormed in all balaclavaed up, grabbed the businessman, about 58 years old, and well, there was actually a lot of people about to witness it, and put him in a boot of the car and shot off. And they give him a good old beating, and yeah, he had to end up in hospital. But we don't really know the full story behind it. The only thing is he might have sold a dodgy car, and maybe the people couldn't get their money back, but they're still investigating the case. Got another case in Salamanca where three people broke into an house, and when they got into the house, they tied up and beat a married couple, and apparently they had a firearm as well. All masked up again, balaclava, big shotgun, and yeah, they were after money and jewellery. They was bashing the husband over the head with a butt of the gun and giving him a good old beating, because they wanted to know where all the jewellery was and where it was all kept and the money. Eventually they locked him in a room and ransacked the house. It was there for about an hour, and they did end up finding the jewellery. Did manage to free themselves from the room and managed to call the local civil guardia. And yeah, they all raced to the scene and all the police force was out to hunt these criminals. They were sending up drones and had all the tactical support. Basically, they had the whole force out trying to catch them. Talked about sniffer dogs, helicopters, the full Monty. And yeah, they did end up finding the vehicle abandoned right next to a wooded area. And they did actually catch them in the end, and there were two adults and a minor. And the adults were brothers, and they did have a big criminal history as well. We searched the property and found a couple of sawn-off shotguns and a load of stolen property. And I'll tell you what else we got other news as well. Down in Mallorca, they're actually banning tourists from actually driving down there because of the congestion and the traffic. Only the locals allowed to drive, but yeah, no tourists allowed to drive anywhere down in Mallorca. But yeah, they brought all these rules in right in the town centre, and to stop all the holiday makers getting the rental cars and causing more traffic. So if you're in Mallorca and you've got an hire car, you've got all the area in the town centre all restricted. It's like 12 main streets. You've got to park right away from the main town centre and walk, unless you're a local. So last year you had all the protests all up and crying about all the tourists in the area. But it's the actual tourists that generates 45% of the old GDP down there. So yeah, they don't want to be upsetting the tourists, otherwise they'll lose a lot of money. Tell you what we did have yesterday, we had a big explosion in a firework factory in Alicante. Yeah, proper firework display, and loads of fire engines and emergency services were rushed down there to sort out this big fire of smoke fumes everywhere. I mean, it was so bad that they ended up having to close off the train lines, Murcia to Alicante, because of the fire that has just spread all round. There is one person that's still missing, and apparently there was quite a lot of people that are injured as well from this big explosion. That happened in the morning, 11 o'clock, but they all rushed there. But they reckon the old police, local police and that were very erotic of the way they actually got on with it and managed to save a lot of people's lives and everything. But we've got a bit more news closer to home here in Torrevieja about taxi drivers. So they're recruiting taxi drivers here in Torrevieja, but they reckon it's almost impossible to get a licence because of the requirements to obtain a driving licence that permits in the Costa Blanca area. They reckon it's literally impossible to, to meet all these conditions. As you know, taxis in the summer are actually nightmare. They were queuing literally a mile long in the summer, at least a couple of hours waiting for a taxi, and they weren't going to budge in letting any other taxi company come into Alicante airport. And not only that, on the Costa Costa and around Torrevieja, you could be waiting for an hour for a taxi. Yeah, complete shortage on the Costa Blanca of taxis. And that's why you do get a lot of illegal taxis about, ferrying people around the little areas to bars and airports and backwards and forwards, because you can't even get a legal taxi. So yeah, you want to get about, you've got to use one of your friends or one of these other taxis that are not licensed. Until they sort the problem out, it's going to carry on being the same. So they can't really complain about legal taxis if they can't solve the problems out themselves. Because the city council are actually going nuts about it, because they're saying, you can say, it's virtually impossible to pass all the requirements. So they'll not be able to sort this problem out at all. They do reckon there's a public tender that's going to be launched to hire for the first 6 drivers with a deadline of March the 24th. And that'll be added to the current 84 taxis operating in Torrevieja, which literally is nothing, 84 taxis for a big area like this. Another story as well, back in Costa del Sol again, where all the druggies and all the crime goes on. Yeah, they found, tons of drums of fuel on the beach, all stacked up in containers. Take a look at this picture. They reckon it's for refuelling the boats used by the drug traffickers, and they just abandoned it on the beach. 45 jerry cans of fuel just left there. And they found a boat abandoned right next to it as well. And that was down in Estepona, Marbella. And yeah, they're definitely saying it's all linked to drugs. And they're doing this big investigation now to find out what it's all about and see if they can catch the people. They're saying they was about to start loading this fuel onto the boat, and then they come aware of the police and literally scarpered. Basically, they just use this fuel for the old narco boats and for the drug traffickers, and they run it backwards and forwards for them to do their bit of trafficking. And they reckon they actually banned these narco boats back in 2018. These boats are like really high speed, so yeah, they don't want anything going faster than the police boats. So yeah, they're investigating and trying to track down the culprits. And the other big problem we've got, of course, this big funeral plan company literally gone under, gone bust, and all the customers are going nuts about it, because the they're not being told anything and they're not answering anyone, and everyone's left in a limbo. These people just want to know what's going on, basically. They've paid all this money into this Iberia funeral plan, and of course just gone under and no one's answering anything, and a lot of them are bleating online, all the social media groups about it. They're just saying, you know, shame on the company not to inform their clients about what's actually happened to the company, and our people that now are in trouble now because they've paid the money in. This person whose dad had passed away here, of course in Spain, you have to be pretty quick with a cremation, and yeah, he got cremated, but the family didn't get no service or anything because of what this company has done. So yeah, people paying into these funeral plans, you know. Sometimes it's best to just stick in a safe bank account, innit? No one's going to go under then, because you do hear about stories about companies going under all the time, but not a funeral plan. I can't believe that one, but there you go. And a lot of people have lost their money, been paying into there for years. And of course, a lot of people are not aware what's just happened to this Iberian funeral company. Anyway, on a lighter note, I don't know if anyone's ever seen this, but if you're driving along and you see someone's arm hanging out the window and they're waving a tissue around, well, actually it means something. They're not surrendering anyway, put it that way. What they're actually trying to warn you is, vehicle that's got their handkerchief hanging out the window, they're on an emergency. Yeah, they're on their way to the hospital. Of course, they haven't got time for an ambulance, but even though they're shooting up to the hospital, of course you want to give way to them like a normal ambulance, but they've still got to abide by the laws. They still can't be speeding and jumping traffic lights or anything like that. So yeah, they're waving their handkerchief because yeah, it's actually life-threatening. They've got to get to the hospital as quick as possible. No time to wait for an ambulance. So yeah, see anyone waving their handkerchief out the window, they're not saying hello. You just want to let them know that they need to get by quick and give way to them so they can get to the hospital as quick as possible. But saying that, I've yet to see anyone waving any handkerchief out the window. So yeah, 1 o'clock Paradisewworld Beach, as you've probably seen. All the looky are getting a market ready for their Friday afternoon show. And people have actually flocked to the beach again after this bad weather. And yeah, starting to look like summer again, isn't it, eh? I can't believe it. It was warmer in England yesterday, 19 degrees. And what did we have? 17 degrees, overcast and drizzle yesterday. But the good news is the worst of it's gone by. It's just a little bleep and summer's back. It won't be long. We'll be back in the 30s in another month. Yeah, as you can see, everyone's out and about here. Friday afternoon on the Costa Blanca. And yeah, having their lunch, aren't they? So yeah, that's today's weather on the Costa Blanca, Spain. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more news, what I'll do is I'll post the news up the top there, and you can check up all the latest news that's been going on here in Spain. So yeah, it's hasta luego, hasta pronto. See you soon from paradiseworldvideos. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to Lone Ranger that did buy me a super thanks the other day, and all the other channel members that joined the channel. As you know, being a channel member, you get to see all the videos before they go public, and also support Paradise World Videos.